Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we're going to do things a little bit differently. Normal format is one video, one topic. News is breaking very, very quickly, and I already have half a dozen or more videos in backlog waiting to be published because they keep getting bumped back. So, what we're going to do today is hit a whole bunch of different topics at once, all related to Trump's very, very bad 48 hours. Obviously, there's the whole search warrant thing, which we've talked about, and it's being discussed everywhere. On top of that, Rudy Giuliani was attempting to get out of talking to the grand jury in Georgia about possible election interference down there. He kind of had a doctor's note saying that he couldn't fly. The end result was him being told, well, take a train or an Uber. He was ordered to make the appointment. There may be follow-up appeals on this, but as it stands right now, Giuliani is going to have to go to Georgia and talk to the grand jury down there. Rolling Stone, which has had a lot of good reporting lately, is suggesting that Trump is in a frantic search to find a really good criminal defense attorney, which is probably a good idea. The general tone is that Trump is looking for just pit bull criminal defense attorneys to try to get himself out of the circle that seems to be closing around him. It's been described as Apprentice, Get Out of Federal Prison edition. Trump might have issues finding attorneys that want to take on this task for a whole bunch of reasons. Scott Perry, a Republican congressperson, had their phone taken by the feds. Now, the interesting thing about this is that apparently this was done, at least in part, by the Justice Department Office of Inspector General. That's weird, because the OIG investigates Justice Department employees. Perry never worked for the Justice Department, which means it's relatively safe to assume that this is somehow connected to Jeffrey Clark, the investigation there. Maybe even John Eastman, because Clark also had their phone taken and did work for the Justice Department. That had to do with the idea, the way it's generally being perceived, is that has to do with Trump trying to encourage Clark to push the claims about the election and maybe help interfere with the certification. Now, no charges have been filed in this. So everything is an allegation at this point. And in some cases, there aren't even allegations. But the phones are being taken, and it's the OIG that's involved in it. That leads me to believe that that's going to be an ongoing story that probably has a lot more to develop. The House Ways and Means Committee will be able to access Trump's tax returns. Trump has tried to block this. They went to the appellate court. The appellate court ruled 3-0 that the Ways and Means Commission does actually have a legitimate reason to access those records and obtain them from the IRS and take a look at them. My guess is that Trump is going to appeal this, and he will try to fight it even further. On top of all of that, it looks like Trump might be testifying in the New York civil case, the civil investigation into Trump Organization. We'll see how much his attorneys actually allow him to talk, but it appears that he's willing to do that. One of the things that's important to note when it comes to a lot of these people giving testimony in different locations about different things is that testimony has to match. They can't go to Georgia and say one thing and then say something else in D.C. in front of a federal grand jury or something like that. Given some of their habits of being economical with the truth and kind of improvising a little bit when they're telling stories, that could be really bad for them. It may end up leading to an investigation of its own at some point. All of this, it shows a tightening circle around Trump and those who are very close to Trump. Any of these stories, it is likely to develop and become a little bit more important as time goes on. Right now, we're just getting a bunch of information coming from a whole bunch of different sources that's all coming in. And yes, each little bit is being treated as a huge development. Not all of them are. But it's important to have this stuff on your radar as you try to piece together what's happening, because as the Justice Department moves forward, my guess is that the speed at which things develop will only increase. So if you don't have a good base to work from when you're talking about all of the cast of characters involved in this, it might get really confusing later on. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.